All right, then. Thank you, Larry. It's going to be a long day today. Now that they say you can vote tomorrow, that's official now. In some of those areas where accreditation couldn't start early, and so if they got that challenge, some of them, they could continue tomorrow. He says, look, yeah, subject to the provisions of the Electoral Act, and that's also well documented, he says. So some of those areas, in terms of the announcement now, how are they going to go about it? Or maybe because there are some areas where the officers may have left without announcing that they will come back tomorrow. So one imagines that they have to find a way to sort all this out.
Yeah, that's what I see as a major problem, letting people know that they can go back tomorrow. Because if they just walk away and go home, that's the end of it. So even if INEC officials show up in the different polling units tomorrow, there may not be voters there.
No, some people are asking, is it that the INEC officials are not as passionate as the electorate
exactly,
for these elections?
Exactly.
Why would that be a problem?
Yeah.
I think we have to say that that is where the role of mass media becomes important in electioneering exercise. You can see that even the INEC official refer to channels as a medium for disseminating of information. I believe at the end of all the exercise today, those polling stations that need to conduct elections tomorrow will be identified, and then there will be dissemination of information to the political parties who are the most interested, and I believe the machinery of the political parties would disseminate this to the ward and to the polling stations and to the people alongside with the mass media. So this will be a cooperation between INEC, the political parties, and the mass media, and the electorate, so that they can be spurred on, and not be discouraged or jaded, as the language you have used. Definitely, it will chill or douse the enthusiasm of some of those voters. They may not come out as they came out today. So there's no doubt that there could be voter apathy in those areas where they are postponing elections to the following day.
Okay, well, let's also join Clement Wankwo. He's of the Civil Society Situation Room, maybe similar to that of INEC. Thank you for joining us today. So what's happening in your Situation Room today? What kind of information are you getting?
Well, we're getting information from different polling units across the country. First of all, of course, we did get reports of a slow start. Abuja particularly started very late in the day, and across several other parts of the country, it was a slow start, and in some significant numbers of polling units, we have seen starts really late as well. We still have reports even of accreditation going on in a few places, and these are a bit of concern to all of us. But beyond INEC's performance is also the concerns of the reports we are receiving from different other parts of the country and a few states of opposition politicians being arrested and being prevented from participating in the electoral process. And this is a concern that we have raised from the onset. This election must be free and fair. We haven't verified some of these, but these are what we might consider credible reports. These elections must be free and fair. And if we do have reports of security officials preventing opposition politicians from participating in the electoral process, then this is very worrying, and we really must draw attention to it. And all of the political leaders, political parties who are involved in this process need to understand that the country is concerned about achieving free and fair elections. And if we don't get it, then the challenge of an illegitimate election would really stare us in the face.
Were you also inundated with reports of people not being able to vote, which eventually led to that announcement of manual accreditation?
Yes, we did get a lot of reports, and it would seem that in some cases, the card reader machines have not been able to perform to optimal level in some of the cases and reports that we have received, which accounts for INEC adopting what its backup option respecting this. And so my sense is that this was a backup in terms of INEC's guidelines for the elections. And in this event, we would have to ensure that whatever is done under this backup plan aims to ensure that the integrity of the process remains intact.
Well, there were several briefings by the Commission to political parties, including civil society groups, and I imagine you were also part of those who took part in those briefings. From what you've seen so far about the elections and the briefings you had, did you expect what you're seeing now, and what were your thoughts when those reports started trickling in?
Well, there were a few instances that was going to happen of glitches in the process, and when we compare to the 2011 elections, which had to be postponed on April 2nd to April 9, I think at first start we would say, of course, yes, this is an improvement on the first voting day of April 2nd of 2011. But our hope was really and is that this is a significant improvement on the practices of the past. And we must get to that point where we reduce the human elements with elections. The card reader machines is very important for any election to be credible. We must continue in that search to minimize the human elements in any elections. And, you know, I would share quite strongly Professor Yewa's comments on this issue. We must move towards a more technologically based electoral process. We still are not at that point where we would want to be. And going past voting today, we want to see also how the collation process goes on. Would like to monitor, and we are monitoring that process very closely. I hope that political leaders, political agents would want to participate in this process with a lot of interest in ensuring that it's a process that achieves the desired goal of a credible election rather than working to subvert it.
Thank you very much, Clement Wankwo of Civil Society Situation Room. Well, the party talks about coalition. It's a different leg of the process entirely. Yeah. But do we learn lessons? I mean, if we won't be quick to forget, for instance, now, you had over 12 million people who were not able to get their PVCs for these elections. And now we've got this challenge wherein some PUs, some centers will have to come back tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, when the results are announced, hoping no one goes to the tribunal for all of those, because that seems to be one dominant feature. If those are announced, people move on, would we come together and think, maybe the commission now, and look through those areas where you could prevent 12 million from not being able to participate, perhaps owing to no fault of theirs? You think that we'll be able to put that in perspective as well, while we also look ahead and how to improve? Let me start with Professor Kwanabong.
Oh, definitely. It's a learning process, and the learning is continuous. So hopefully at the end of this exercise, INEC will sit down, and all the stakeholders actually, and look at where things went wrong and how to fix those things. So I think Nigeria is a democracy in transition, and we have to learn and perfect the process as we go. Not that there's any perfect system. I live in the US, it's not perfect either, but at least it approximates perfection. So we can continue to work on this system to get to a point where the major issues, the rigging, the fraudulent practices, are eliminated, or at least reduced, if not completely eliminated.
Okay. I think from what Clement said, the concern is on the integrity of the whole process. And if, by and large, you look at from 1999, so date, incrementally,
okay.
we've had
Pardon me, Prof.
Yes.
I need to jump in. I need to just go over to our correspondent, Yomi Otaigbe. She's standing by to quickly bring us her reports on where she is. Hello, Yomi.
Hello, Chamberlain. I'm at the St. Andrew's Primary School in Ayobo, Ifaja, under the Alimosho local government area. in Lagos West Senatorial District. Now, voting is still going on. Where I am, we have about 3 polling units. Polling unit 044, 045, and 066. 044 voting has ended, I think, and for 045, the voting is still going on. It's been a bit chaotic here because one, accreditation started around 11 a.m., and then voting proper started about 3:30. The people, they've been a bit uneasy about the things happening here, the INEC preparations. We see that the cubicle, the white cubicle with INEC logo, only one of the polling units has that. And now we have people using waste baskets to cast their ballots. And, you know, the whole thing is just a bit untidy here.
All right. Thank you, Yomi. Okay, Prof, let me get to two quick